What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Countdown Scouting Network. I'm your host, Joey Garcia, and today we are wrapping up the NFC North draft grades with the Chicago Bears. So let's get going because they do have 10 picks on here. Their first pick was pick number 10. They ended up taking Darnell Wright, the right tackle out of Tennessee. I gave this a D. I thought it was a little bit of a reach. I thought he was probably a late first round, early second round pick. He is 6'5", 335 pounds, and he's super strong for a tackle. He helps out a lot in the run game and against power rushers and blitzers. Um, he's good in the pass game as well. He's got good enough hands where striking isn't going to be an issue, but his feet are slow. He's a waist bender as well, so I think he's got a little bit of hip stiffness and hip weakness. If you can get his hips a little bit quicker, I think his feet can also get a little bit quicker, and also bending at the waist, trying to when he throws punches in the pass game. It worked okay in college. I think at the next level, it's going to be a little bit of an issue when you go up against more technically refined pass rushers. So I think he's going to be a solid starter for them. I just think there's going to be a few weeks, few months maybe of trouble for him and growing pains, I guess. The next pick, I gave it a C. I really do like this player, and I think it's going to be better than a C in a couple years from now, but just right now, I give it a C. Gervon Dexter, the interior pass rusher from Florida. He's 6'6", 310 pounds. He's strong enough where he can hold up in the run game, and he's super athletic. He's going to be a pass rusher from the interior, which if you can find a good interior pass rusher from the D line, it's super valuable to have. So I think if he grows into the player that I think he can become, he will end up being a really, really good starter and possibly a Pro Bowler. He's just not consistent enough. There were times at Florida last year and the year before that where he looked like the best player on the field that couldn't be stopped. And then 3 plays later, he was getting washed down by double teams. He wasn't breaking off tackles on guys running straight into his gap. He wasn't able to get any pass rush. And it's just ups and downs of his games. His ups are Pro Bowl level ups. His downs are replacement level defensive linemen. So if he can get to be more consistently up than he is down, he's going to be a really good defensive lineman in this league. The next pick, another second round pick, they took Tyreek Stevenson, the cornerback from Miami. He is a long armed corner. Yes, he's only 6 foot. My cat's going to run across the screen, but that's all right. He's here, go away. He is only 6 foot, 200 pounds, but he is 200 pounds, and his arms are longer than 6 feet, 6 feet long arms. So that helps him a lot. He's a physical tackler. Again, at 200 pounds, he can hit, and he wraps up pretty well. He's also aggressive towards the ball, going downhill, people coming across his zone. The only real issue I have with him is that you're not going to ask him to play in the slot. That's fine. He's an outside corner only, and his hips are kind of tight where if you've got guys like, I don't know, Justin Jefferson, a guy that's going to be in his region, Amon-Ra St. Brown, those guys that run good routes and change directions quickly, he struggles with them with his hips being a little bit tight. But I think if he's your number 2 cornerback if he's your number 2 outside cornerback, I think this is a really good pick. I think he's going to start for them day one. And all in all, I think he's going to be a fairly good player. They get another interior defensive lineman in the third round. This is 2 interior defensive linemen in the top 64 picks, but I like this one as well. I think they've gotten 4 good players so far. Zach Pickens, the defensive lineman from South Carolina, he's 6'4", 295 pounds. And again, he's another guy that's going to pass rush from the interior. He's got really good block deconstruction skills. So even if he doesn't get his hands on the offensive lineman and get his hands inside before the offensive lineman does, he does a really good job of ripping and breaking down their arms and getting off of that block. So he does that really, really well. The only real issue he has is, again, he is only 295 pounds, so you're probably not going to put him in the one tech. You're going to want to push him out a little bit further because he struggles against double teams. he can't really anchor against it. That might just be a thing that he has to work on. Is he doesn't double team? He doesn't um, work off of double teams very well, and he also just doesn't really hold up at the point of attack when it comes to run defending. So he's probably a guy who's a gap penetrator. You're not going to ask him to stand up a guy and figure out where the ball is going. You're just going to ask him to shoot that ball and create havoc in the backfield. So in the third round, that's not bad to get a guy like that. I think he's a guy that's going to rotate in a lot, especially on third down packages. So I like this pick. I gave it a C plus. Their next pick, fourth round pick, Roschon Johnson, running back from Texas. I gave this a B. I really like Roschon Johnson. He's 6 feet tall, 220 pounds, and man, he packs a punch. He reminds me a lot of Dameon Pierce, just his running style from last year. He got picked around this range as well, and he's a guy that just his feet are always churning. He's a power back. He's got good contact balance, but they both have really good vision. Um, I think Dameon Pierce has a little bit better hands than Roschon Johnson does, but Roschon Johnson's got good enough hands. He does well pass blocking. That was something that Dameon Pierce also did well, was pass blocking. I think Roschon Johnson does pass blocking really well as well. He isn't the most athletic guy, obviously. He is slower. He doesn't really make great cuts, but you're asking him to run in between the tackles, pass block, and catch a little bubble screen, and that's really it. And then make a defender miss. And he's someone that can do that fairly well. So as a fourth rounder, um, a guy that can step into that RB2 role with Khalil Herbert stepping up in RB1 with David Montgomery leaving. I like this pick a lot. I think this is someone I want in all of my rookie dynasty drafts, and this is a guy who I think in redraft as well would be a nice late round pickup. Another fourth round pick. They got Tyler Scott, the wide receiver out of Cincinnati. I gave this a B as well. He's 5'10", 180 pounds, but he's super explosive. He makes acrobatic catches. He separates really, really well. He trying to think of who he reminds me of last class that everyone can think of. Maybe Calvin Austin. Except, yeah, I think kind of a Calvin Austin is someone good to think of. Someone that works well in the screen game, but also can take the top off of defenses. Someone that kind of teleports and you can't really touch in a phone booth. That's how quick and explosive and elusive he is. And someone that also can make pretty good catches, but is a smaller framed guy who has some drop concerns. Now, Calvin Austin didn't really have very many drop concerns, so that's just something that is different. Tyler Scott drops the ball a little bit too much for my liking, but he's a fourth round pick. As a fourth round pick, you're talking about a guy who, I mean, his upside is Darnell Mooney. And again, they have Darnell Mooney on the team. That's just someone that you could kind of see him filling into a Darnell Mooney role while Darnell Mooney takes that next level to become a better receiver and a more game-breaking receiver. I think that's kind of what you're looking for Tyler Scott to do is step into that Darnell Mooney role and have Darnell Mooney step into more of a true wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2 role. And I know that they do have DJ Moore and Claypool over there, but I think you need Darnell Mooney to take another step up because I don't think Claypool's the guy, other than a big body downfield guy. All right, getting into their next pick, we have Noah Sewell, the linebacker out of Oregon. I gave this an A. I really like this pick. Noah Sewell in this linebacker class wasn't a great linebacker class, but I still had him, I believe, as my fourth linebacker, and I had a late third round grade on him. So this is a nice player to get in this range. He's 6'2", 250 pounds, so he's one of those pure Mike A gap to A gap linebackers. He's super strong. He can blitz well. Again, he's not very rangy. You don't want him to cover anyone. You don't want him to work sideline to sideline. His lateral agility is not very well. He can drop into zone a little bit, but even that, he's not super instinctual. He's going to be a guy who you're really asking for on first and second down to come on in and just pursue A gap to A gap. That's purely all he's going to be asked to do. He does that really well, so I think that's a good pick here. but that's about it. Don't ask him to cover anyone. One more fifth round. I think this is the last fifth round pick they had. Is Terrell Smith, the cornerback out of Minnesota. I like this pick a lot as well. He's someone that they're gonna have to mold a little bit, but he's 6'1", 205 pounds, and he's super athletic. You'll have to teach him some techniques, but he's his hips are quick twitch enough, and his athleticism is so good that he sticks to these wide receivers without really knowing how to get in and out of phase, without throwing his hands on them and press. It's some impressive stuff with very very sloppy technique. So this is a guy who is probably a project. Will he make the roster this year? Probably, but you won't really see him playing very much. This is probably a 2-year project on this one. This next pick, it was a seventh round pick. They got Travis Bell, the defensive tackle from Kennesaw State. I could not find film on this guy. I looked him up, and I figured out that he's 6'1", 290 pounds. So he's kind of got a shorter body type. If he actually is 290 pounds and that wasn't fake, looking at this picture, he looks like a lean 290 pounds, especially at 6'1". So I don't know if 290 is actually true. He might be closer to 270 pounds. Um, but I don't actually know about this pick, to be 100% honest with you guys. I didn't want to just put up random things on here that I haven't seen and and fake my way through it. So I couldn't find anything on Travis Bell. If you guys know anything about Travis Bell, go ahead and leave that down in the comment section below, because I'd love to kind of get more of a take on what this guy is like. With another seventh round pick, they got Kendall Williamson, safety from Stanford. I gave this a B minus. I like this pick. I think he might stick on the roster. Like day one, make the roster, be a fourth safety, fifth safety, someone like that who's gonna just purely be a special teamer. Maybe occasionally work down in the box as a box safety, because he is a really good tackler. He's not gonna do anything in coverage really. You don't want him manning up on anyone, even manning up on like a tight end. I don't really feel the most comfortable having him man to man on anyone, even a tight end. He can play a little bit of zone. You might want to play him as a robber role, because he is kind of he showed some pretty good instincts, not great instincts, but enough where you can throw him in a robber role that can also help on run defense, and also if they're throwing a bubble screen, he can shoot downhill pretty fast on that. So that's really all he's going to be. I think he's going to be a special teamer early on, and hopefully get a couple packages in there as a box safety. And that was the last pick for the Cincinnati Bengals. So, excuse me, not the Cincinnati Bengals. I apologize, the Chicago Bears. So that was the last pick for the Chicago Bears. Go ahead and leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it, and put down in the comments again about Travis Bell if you know anything about him, the defensive tackle, or if you disagree with any of my other evaluations on any of these other players. Go ahead and leave that down in the comment section as well. So appreciate you guys checking out this video, and tomorrow we will be starting the NFC West, and we will start with the San Francisco 49ers. So appreciate you guys stopping by. Have a good day. Peace.